Welcome back to Bloom. With the recent demonstrations and protests around the country, is there potential for a spike in COVID-19 cases? Joining us to discuss is Dr. Dean Hart, an expert in microbiology and published author on the transmission of viruses and diseases, who's also a research scientist with Columbia University. Welcome, Dr. Hart.
Oh, good to be with you.
I'm excited to have someone with all of your knowledge. I just want to start sort of establishing, in your opinion, who is most vulnerable to COVID-19?
Well, similar to the flu, the aged, the higher the age, the high blood pressure, people in nursing homes are particularly vulnerable to COVID-19 and mortality from it.
Okay, so if we're talking about sort of people protesting that increasing the risk, we're not necessarily going to see people leaving nursing homes to do that, typically.
No, we're not. So are they at risk to catch it? We don't see much difference between elderly and young people being able to catch or get the germs. We do see the mortality rate difference. So the young kids that are out there protesting, they're probably not going to die from it if they catch it, but that's not what you call social distancing much.
Yeah, and there's a term, ageism. How does that factor into what we're talking about with the different populations and their mortality rate?
Well, ageism particularly relates to not so much Florida. Your governor didn't put many people into nursing homes, but in New York, our governor decided that that was the place to empty the hospitals into the nursing homes, and half the deaths were from the nursing homes that were contaminated on purpose by the hospital being opened up and as a dumping ground. A horrible prejudice against the elderly, like their lives don't count.
Yes, no, that can be I can see it very upsetting to a lot of people. Now, when we talk, switching back gears to the protest, I know we're seeing them. Some people are concerned. So how could these potentially impact the rate of COVID-19 infection?
Well, when you sneeze or cough, you expel COVID-19 if you're infected. And you maybe up to 3/4 of people are asymptomatic, so they might not even know they're infected. So the social distancing is out the window in any good protest. So chanting goes on. That's like coughing or sneezing, data suggests. So you're just expelling a lot of virus. Hopefully, these people that are positive are wearing masks. And since they're asymptomatic, you got to get everybody with a mask on.
Do you think that, in however that long time period is to get tested, we might see spikes in some of these hot spots where there are protests?
Well, if it's true that 80%, some studies show, are asymptomatic, what's the difference if you catch it, as long as you don't contaminate another person that's elderly or at high risk with comorbidities? They're doing this with the subway. They're opening it now in New York City, and they cannot have every other seat open. It doesn't work. If you've ever been to New York City, subways are sardine can.
Yeah, definitely. If you were going to one of these protests or getting on a subway, what would you do to avoid getting sick?
Well, that's a good question. I would wear glasses because your mucous membrane of your eyes are very sticky and viruses go right into the eye. And we've seen that in so many viral infections. And people put their contact lenses on, it would seem, for their political event. That's a bad idea. Protective eyewear, very good idea. Mask is also a good idea, especially if you're positive. And then when I get home, I take my clothes off and take a shower right away also.
Okay. So for glasses, can it be just typical eyeglasses like you're wearing, sunglasses, or does it need to be a sort of goggle type glass?
Oh, in a perfect world, you'd seal it completely. But masks are 50 or 60% seal. Not the perfect world for a mask. The glasses, usually it's a projection straight into you, but in this environment, it's all a crapshoot. But you got to do your civic duty, and protesting is patriotic. So
hopefully, we hope that people are sort of taking those precautions. For you, being sort of in the center of this and being an expert, what is your sort of realm of how far do you go out? Quickly tell us, where do you go? Are you going everywhere you used to go, or have you changed your patterns?
Oh, I've caught COVID 3 months ago in a nursing home myself and recovered and donated immunoglobulins, the antibodies, to the
Oh,
Red Cross. And they're using my plasma to help as convalescent plasma. So I fear nothing because if the immunoglobulins don't protect
mhm.
me, then I'm just going to get sick again. And then there's no end to it and Earth is over. So I go out freely.
Well,
I wear
yeah.
a mask for the psyche of others because
Well,
I don't
that's
want
good. Yeah.
everybody else freaking out.
Well, thank you for joining us. I'm glad you are feeling better now and for all this great information. We want to let everyone know they can visit Dr. Hart's website at deanhartscientist.com. Thank you so much, doctor.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, we'll be right back.